What's going on, guys? It's Brandon back here again today for another BFR. Today we have Game 65 against the Florida Panthers in Florida. It was at 6 p.m. on March 10th. Hawks lose 4-3 in OT. They blew it in a different way. They go to 22, 37, and 6. Shots were 43-24 Florida. Hits were 25-18 Florida. Faceoffs were 29-24 Chicago. Power play, Chicago goes 0 for 6. Florida goes 1 for 4. Mrazek saves 39 out of 43. Bobrovsky saves 21 out of 24. The Hawks had an E-Bug as their backup goalie, Zach Andrews, because Stalock was out with illness. Since then, Luke Philp and Anton Hudobin have been called up today. Murphy was out, and Ruse was in. I don't know why he was out. Ruse was in because Murphy had he had a family matter to deal with, so he was back home here. And, what I learned from this game is don't wear the jersey of the team you're rooting for because it's just not going to work. I had one of my Florida Panthers jerseys on during the game, and then I wore it during the first, and then I took it off after the first because I'm like, I don't want this to be happening. So let's get into the game. So Barkov's denied early. Kara is stopped. Gudis has a big hit on Bjork. Kachuk has a chance that's saved. Tenorti laid out Barkov, and then at 13-11, it's a Chicago goal to Caleb Jones, his third of the season from Radish and Tyler Johnson to make it 1-0. Tyler Johnson then has a chance that's saved. Reinhardt got obliterated by Tenorti. 6:41, Florida penalty to Cousins for hooking, which would be killed. And all he had done to start that game, he was looking for trouble. I don't know what Cousins was doing. It's like he was purposely trying to get penalties in that first period. And then at 5:21, it's a Florida penalty to Mark Stahl for tripping, which would also be killed, but it was 40 seconds of 5-on-3 that was killed off, and then a minute 20 of 5-on-4 that was killed off by the Florida Panthers. So good penalty killing for them. 2:07, Chicago deflection goal to Boris Kachuk, his third of the season from Joey Anderson and Kara to make it 2-0. And Bjork was then hurt on a hit. He was leaning over on the side of the bench, but he would continue playing the game. We go to the second period where Reinhardt to Barkov just missed. 18:44, Chicago penalty to Zaitsev for tripping, which would be killed. Reichel just missed. Ruse then saves a goal. 12:20, Florida penalty to Lundell for high sticking, which would be killed. Florida has really controlled this game, I wrote down at this point, because it was just them. The Hawks got two lucky opportunities, and that went in. Bennett is stopped. 2:51, Florida penalty to Montour for slashing, which would be killed. Ruse was hurt on the slash. He did have ice on his hand, but he would continue playing as well. We go to the third period where everything just fell apart. 18:23, Chicago penalty to Seth Jones for slashing, which would be killed. Florida looked awful on that power play, and they also looked awful on the one at 15:32. Chicago penalty to Kara for cross-checking, which would be killed. Florida also looked awful on that. Reinhardt hits the post. Radish has a break that's saved. 11:31 then, it's the beginning of the end. It's a Florida one-timer goal from Sam Bennett, 16th of the season from Kachuk and Lusterinen to make it 2-1. 11:15, Chicago. So 16 seconds later, Chicago penalty to Kurashev for interference, and then 13 seconds after that, it's a Florida deflection goal from Sam Reinhardt to tie the game with his 22nd of the year from Montour and Kachuk to make it 2-2. So Kachuk there now has 2 assists. Gudis destroys Anderson. 9:43, Florida penalty to Bennett for interference, which would be killed, and then at 7:18, it's a Florida goal. E2 Lusterinen, 16th of the season from Kachuk and Stahl to complete the comeback. 3-2 to come back and take the lead in a span of 4 minutes and 31 seconds. So, all just like that, I started cheering. I'm like, yes, this is just what the Hawks need. Keep losing games. And then things don't go right. So, the Hawks blew the lead there, and I was happy. And then they made me very unhappy, which we'll get to. So, Lusterina makes the game 3-2. And then at 6:09, it's a Florida penalty that would be served by Lomberg for too many men, and I thought that was a debatable call. Forsling took down Athanasiou on the next play, which I thought, that makes up for the penalty because Forsling just took him down for no reason whatsoever. It was a clear trip, and they just didn't call it. Radish was then denied. Scrums were starting. There's a scramble in front of Bobrovsky that's covered up. Hawks pulled a goalie at 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And then another scramble in front of Bobrovsky leads to at 44.3 seconds. Chicago tap-in goal for Cole Gutman, his 4th of the season from Dickinson and Kara to make it 3-3 with 45 seconds left. And I was very angry, to say the least. Because with that, the Hawks get a point because they go to overtime and they moved ahead of San Jose. So now they're third last instead of second last. I want the best player. I want Bedard, but if I can't get Bedard, I want the best player possible. It's not that hard to understand. So yeah, and they're in that scramble. There was just bodies everywhere. People were flying. The puck was bouncing, and Gutman is just right there at this empty spot. And I'm like, okay, that's in the back of the net. We go to overtime where Dickinson has a breakaway that's saved after a turnover on a 2-on-1. Athanasiou has a near break that's wide, and then at 2:17, Brandon Montour with a no-look backhander scores. He's just like the puck just bounces right to him. He doesn't even look at Mrazek. He just throws the puck behind him, goes right through Mrazek, and it's his 12th of the season. He's having a career year from Barkov to make it 4-3, and Florida wins this one in overtime. So the Hawks luckily don't get 2 points; they get one. They play in Tampa tonight at 6 o'clock. And changes in the standings, as I mentioned, Hawks move ahead of San Jose. Colorado and Winnipeg go back and forth. Calgary and Nashville go back and forth. Buffalo went from here to here, so they've been, after that 10-4 loss to Dallas, they've been it kind of just ended their playoff. That's kind of how it felt. It felt like when they lost that game, their playoff chances ended. We'll see. They definitely can still get in, but it's going to take a lot more effort and work from what was been going on with them recently. So yeah, Florida moving up, Ottawa staying the same, Washington moving up, Buffalo moves down. That's really all I had for you guys today. As I said, Hawks game today at 6 against Tampa in Tampa. So I shall see you guys most likely tomorrow for that BFR. Thank you guys for watching, and have a good day. Goodbye.